The Guardian just profiled a wave of Americans heading to Europe after Trump's win, saying they, quote, would not feel safe staying in the US. That's great and everything, but before you wire €500,000 to some random European fund just to get a Portuguese passport, let's talk about Latin America. Hi, I'm Justin, and on this channel, Entrepreneur Expat, we talk about everything to do with moving overseas, leaving your home country, and creating a better life in a place that maybe isn't the country that you were born. We help you build location-independent businesses, figure out the entire immigration process, and in some cases, maybe choose the country that you're going to go to first. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up as well because it helps us out a lot in our mission with reaching 1 million entrepreneur expats and aspiring expats. Now, if you're looking to move to Latin America, perhaps Mexico, you definitely want to check our moving abroad checklist. We'll include that below so that you know all the steps you need to take before actually making that big move. And if you're looking to get one-on-one personalized support and chat with our team, you can do that at entrepreneurexpat.com/consult. So the premise of this video really is, why is Europe maybe not the best place to travel and become an expat in right now? Why are countries in Latin America, like Mexico among others, maybe better options? We're going to dive into that. So as I mentioned in this introduction, Europe is getting a surge of US expats moving there. The Guardian actually just did an article about all of the people trying to leave Trump's totalitarian regime. There's some issues for sure with what's going on in America. Absolutely, absolutely no doubt. So I can understand why people are trying to leave. Granted, it happens when Democrats are in power and they do stuff that we don't agree with. It happens when Republicans are in power. But the point is, there's a lot of issues with the system. Trump is in many ways exacerbating those issues. And so Europe is seeing a huge surge of those US expats. There's even universities and firms with jobs and things like that openly courting Americans. But Europe is not exactly the easy mode for everyone for a few different reasons. Now, there's high income taxes in Europe. There's also wealth and solidarity taxes in Europe. So, for example, if you own property, not just in Europe, but let's say in the United States or Canada or anywhere else, they can now charge you taxes on the value of all of your properties. It's called a wealth tax, and it's super difficult to build and run and grow businesses in Europe. In some cases, even more difficult than in the US because there's so much bureaucracy you have to go through, so many different just layers and layers and layers of compliance. So that's in a nutshell what's going on. So what I want to talk to you about now is this idea of soft freedoms, like those day-to-day flexibilities. How do you live in a place that maybe isn't going to be throwing the rule book at you all the time? I'll give you guys an example from our time here in Mexico. So we've had to do a few electrical things and little fixes and whatnot around this house. In the last house Amanda and I lived in, we actually had to rewire the whole thing because it was wired backwards and nothing was grounded. And so I'll get to that, the soft freedoms and kind of the pros and cons of that. The pros are that, of course, I could fix some of the wiring. It costs several $100s, but hey, we were there for multiple years. It was worth it. It was easy to do. I didn't need to pull permits or anything crazy like that. Obviously, there are cons, which are the house wasn't wired like it should have been in the first place, right? So you have those things as well. But I would personally take those soft freedoms of Mexico, the more laissez-faire attitude, any day over regulations in the US and definitely over regulations in places like Europe. In Europe, if you're running a business, you have to deal with all these anti-business regulations like GDPR, like all the other privacy regulations, like all the paperwork you have to submit to get permits and all these other things. Now, in Mexico, we know people personally that have been able to get permits for hairstyling businesses and nail salons and massage clinics and spas and things like that in as little as 4 to 6 weeks. And if you're coming from the US or Canada, you're like, yeah, it probably is going to take me minimum 4 to 6 months just to get all of the proper permits. Spain and Portugal and much of Central Europe are very similar in that it takes a long time to get things permitted. And there's just less in terms of the ease of the ease and flow of like the day-to-day, hey, I don't feel like I have a bunch of restrictions. Another example of those kinds of soft freedoms is that let's say I have my dog out without a leash. As long as she's not bothering anybody, I'm not going to have a problem with that. Versus in a lot of countries, Central Europe and the West included, you'll get a ticket and you'll owe $200 to the government for absolutely nothing. It's silly, right? Business, as I mentioned, is another reason it is so much faster to get businesses up and running here. And now, because of all the anti-money laundering and anti-fraud and things like that, Spain and Portugal and so many other countries are just making everything so complex. So you have the government breathing down your neck, you've got a ton of regulation. And the next issue, which is perhaps even bigger than that, is taxes. Now, yes, technically, if you are an expat, you do have to pay income tax on your globally sourced income in Mexico if you're here more than about 183 days per year, and or your central vital interest is here. Now, we're not tax professionals. We have people on our team that are tax professionals. If you want to learn more about international tax planning and other things associated with moving overseas, then you can definitely go to entrepreneurexpat.com/consult and you can book a call with our team and learn more about things there. But this is just our opinion, so we're sharing it with you. Now, Mexico does have tax on foreign earned income, but at most tax brackets where you're a business owner and you're making, a net income of 20, 30, 50, up to even $100,000, yeah, you're paying a decent amount of tax, but it's only on that income. And for the most part, they're not really even enforcing that tax unless you're making money from Mexico itself. It's one of those gray areas of the law versus if you're in Spain, you will definitely be hit with a hefty tax bill. They're very serious about enforcement. The tax rates are even higher. The top marginal tax rates in Spain are as high as 47 to 50%, and many other European countries are like that as well. And there's also a lot of wealth tax that they apply on worldwide assets for especially high net worth residents. And you might not need to have more than a couple $100,000 in assets to be considered high net worth in a given country. Mexico does not have a wealth tax. Mexico and most other countries in Latin America do not charge you tax on the foreign assets that you have. Of course, as always, if you're a US citizen, you are paying and declaring your taxes to Uncle Sam no matter where you are in the world. That does not change. But when you're in a more tax friendly or at least more tax enforcement lenient country, like a lot of those countries in Latin America, you can use things like the foreign earned income exclusion and foreign tax credits to reduce your bill. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, which is just going to make the process significantly easier for you, is all the different residency options that are available. So if you look at a place like Mexico, which I'm going to speak about Mexico because we have so much experience here. I've gotten multiple clients their residencies. I got my residency in Mexico. I got my wife Amanda's residency here, and we have people all the time that come from the channel and thank us because we've given them advice to help them get their visa situation sorted out or move to Mexico or move to another country. So I'm very familiar with how these systems work here. That's why we're going to talk about Mexico specifically as an example. But here, you only need about $4,200 per month in net income. That can be from a remote job. That can be from, which by the way, remote jobs are getting harder and harder to find. If you take a look below, we'll also have some resources on how to make money from anywhere, what some skill sets are that you can use to build your own business and attract clients and things like that, because it is getting harder and harder to get a remote job. But let's say you have one and they don't mind you working from overseas, you can totally do it as long as you've got a $4,200 a month net income or higher, or you've got about 70,000 or more average balance over the last 12 months in your investment or saving accounts. Now, contrast that with, as an example, Portugal. If you want to do their golden visa program now, you're going to be investing €500,000, which is over $500,000 US dollars, into one of their wealth funds or other types of projects. You can also create jobs. I did a whole video about the details, but it's something like 5 full-time jobs for Portuguese people. That's another avenue. But in Mexico, you don't actually have to start any kind of business here, although you can. You don't need to give a bunch of money to the government in terms of the actual fees and things like that. Obviously, we have services, and you're going to pay a little bit more if you want somebody to help you go through the entire process. But in terms of government fees, It's really not that much. It's like maybe a couple $1,000s over the entire process, from the visa appointment to residency to getting your residency card and all the times you have to renew it. It's really not bad at all. And then you have permanent residency and you're good to go, right? So after a few years, you don't have to keep doing the renewals and all that. Not a very expensive way to do it. You just prove income or you prove savings. Now, this is going to change soon. Mexico has been cracking down. They've been basically saying, you know what, we want people that are high net worth individuals coming into our country. We don't want broke people here. So you have to meet criteria, and those criteria are going up every single year. Obviously, each consulate also sets its own numbers, which is kind of different than some other countries. So in Mexico, each consulate sets its own numbers. So you want to check first on the consulate you plan on going to. But again, this is so much more easy than Portugal or Spain or a lot of different countries in Europe. And unlike Europe, you can actually get 180 days when you come into Mexico as a tourist. Now, people have abused this in the past. If they see that you're coming and going and coming and going and basically living here without a proper residence permit, then they might not give you the full 180 days. And in some cases, they're only giving you the days that you actually prove that you're staying. But in Europe, you get max, typically 3 months out of every 6-month rolling period. So that's something to be aware of as well. It's a huge difference in terms of how easy it is to get residency. And if it's something, for example, that you're like, hey, I want to have this residency in Mexico or in another country, Mexico is one of the only ones that allows you to not even live here, but just have it as like a paper residency, where maybe you're going to move to Mexico at some point in the future, but you can meet the requirements and apply now. You can't really do that in most cases in Europe. You actually do have to have physical presence. Now, there's also a ton of lifestyle and operating advantages to being here in Mexico. So one of the best things that people like about being here is that the time zones are very much aligned. So you stay aligned with your US clients without 6 to 9 hour offsets if you're somewhere in Europe. So that's a really big benefit. And if you want to hire staff here, if you want to have an office, you're paying maybe an office lease, you want to actually build a team here, those costs tend to be much lower than in major European capitals as well. And it's cool if you've got something that maybe you're marketing to the Latin American market, because of all of the huge Spanish-speaking market that you have access to. You've got much closer access to that region through Mexico. And it's also, in terms of just getting back to the US or Canada, in terms of flights, a lot of nonstop flights. You can fly round trip from here near Guadalajara for a couple $100s to LA, or a few $100s to Miami. And they've got nonstop flights to over 10 cities in the US every single day. So that's another cool benefit, versus in Europe, it's a little bit harder. You're on a plane for maybe 6, 7, 8 hours or more, depending on where you are and where you're flying to. So you have a little bit more access back home, especially if you need to be making regular trips back. Now, of course, there are some trade-offs. There's definitely tax consequences of living in Mexico, especially if you are doing business here. Let's say you've got an Airbnb business or something else. Mexico and other Latin American countries definitely are cracking down on that and trying to make sure you pay your taxes for that income generated from the country. And you can't just assume that you're also going to get approved for residency. Typically you do, but there is a more bureaucratic process than perhaps some European countries. You've got to have the right paperwork. You got to have things in order. That's why if you are interested in moving to Latin America, go to entrepreneurexpat.com/consult and we can consult you on all of the different things that you need to know in order to do this the right way. Now, another thing you definitely want to consider are things like the language. If you're going to a country like perhaps Spain, you might find that the level of English is a little bit higher versus, say, small towns in Mexico. Obviously, if you're going somewhere in Central Europe like the UK, or perhaps other countries, even Portugal or other countries in Central Europe, they do sometimes tend to have higher levels of English spoken there compared to Latin America. So if you want to come to Latin America, it might help to learn Spanish. In fact, it's definitely going to help to learn Spanish if you don't necessarily want to be in some sort of expat-only community where it's mostly Americans and Canadians and things like that, right? If you're really trying to integrate in society. Now, that really is kind of the same in any country that you're going to move to. You want to learn the local language, but because they have so many different languages in Europe, they tend to kind of have English as a second language in most of their education. So perhaps that's one of the trade-offs, for example, of moving to Latin America, is that you are going to be much more benefited, let's say, by learning the local language of Spanish than you would, say, in Europe, where a lot more people are likely to speak English. So those are some of the pros and cons of Europe versus Latin America. Those are some of the things to bear in mind when you see all these people maybe leaving to Europe or even going somewhere like Canada. You say, well, you're going to be taxed significantly more than where you're coming from. And are you actually getting that much more freedom? So on this channel, we're all about seeking freedom, of course, adventure as well, and a really solid quality of life. So if you'd like some more help going down that route and figuring out the answers to all of your questions in terms of moving abroad, especially as it comes to Mexico or elsewhere in Latin America, you definitely want to book a call with our team at entrepreneurexpat.com/consult. And don't forget to grab our free guides as well. We've got that moving abroad checklist. We've also got a guide on moving to Mexico as well. Like this video, it helps us out a lot. We really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe if you've been watching us and you're like, oh, I really love your content. If you don't click the subscribe button, then there's no guarantee you're going to keep seeing our videos. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, book a call with our team if you're serious about moving abroad. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye for now.